Hey everybody. Well, now we're looking at noun phrases, and I'm pretty sure this is chapter 9 in our book. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about complex noun phrases. Um, a noun phrase can be composed of 4 elements, and the main part of that is that the head noun or the main noun. And then you can have determiners, premodifiers, and postmodifiers. One of the things that's a little bit tricky is that even though we've got the head noun listed as a noun, there can be other nouns in amongst the pre-modifiers and post-modifiers, especially in the post-modifiers. So let's take a look. So in the pre-modifiers, you can have adjectives like a special project. You can have what are called participial pre-modifiers, and that's where you've got the past participle, past participle, or the ing gerund, written reasons, detecting devices. Now, this is a point that I think grammarians notice, but for students, you really have to ask the question, do you want to even tell them these are not adjectives? So that's something I want you to think about. Like, if you talk about a written reason, could you just call written as being an adjective for the purposes of what you're teaching? And the same goes for this next category, which is the noun as pre-modifier, a bus strike, a police report. To be honest, I think the distinguishing between the adjective and the noun here is really starting to get a little. I think it's confusing enough for teachers, let alone for students. But just so you know, these are the categories that are identified. Now let's look at the post-modifiers, and we'll look at the phrasal components of post-modifiers. Not surprisingly, prepositional phrases, compensation for emotional damage. For emotional damage is the prepositional phrase. We have what are called positives, and well, they can be a positive noun phrases, and that's where you're naming the noun a second time. The Indian captain, Mohammed, my teacher, John, things like that. And then not quite so common is an adjective phrase. And here we have the extremely short duration varieties common in India were not used in Africa. I mean, that exists, but it's not something that typically you're going to be focusing on in a grammar class with your students, but it is there. We also have, in addition to the phrases, we have clauses that can modify after the head noun. That clause. Beginning students who have had no previous experience, 2 infinitive clauses, the way to get to our house, ing clauses, the imperious man standing under the lamppost, and the past participle type clauses, or ed clauses, products required to support a huge population. So notice all of these things are modifying that noun, and they're coming after the noun. And now the final item I want to share with you on this PowerPoint are taking a look at adverbs as noun modifiers. They can be pre or post, the nearby guards, a block behind. Especially in the pre-modifier position, you need to reflect if you're going to start looking at these things with students, whether you really want to take the time to identify these as adverbs, or if you want to just tell them to think of them as another form of adjective. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know.